Lionel Messi, the best player of our generation and quite possibly of all time, has just won the only trophy that eluded him, along with the second World Cup Player of the Tournament award. He has had football fans in awe of his quality for years, but at 35 years of age, soon football will have a new pin-up boy. A new king will be crowned the best player in world football. Who will be Lionel Messi's successor and light up our screens for the next decade? The obvious choice is Kylian Mbappe, Lionel Messi's club teammate and his closest rival at the latest FIFA World Cup. Mbappe took home the Golden Boot from Qatar with 8 goals to Lionel Messi's 7, and certainly would have been hot on his heels in the race for Player of the Tournament. Mbappe became just the second player of all time to score a hat-trick in a World Cup final, even though his French team's late comeback wasn't enough to lift the trophy. Let's not forget that Mbappe was playing in his second final at just 23 years of age. At 19, he went one better, winning the 2018 World Cup in Russia. Mbappe was already an incredible footballer amongst the very best, but at this World Cup, he stood out in a France squad that isn't short of big personalities or world-class players. At times the French struggled, but Mbappe went toe-to-toe with Messi in this tournament. The PSG teammates dragged their respective nations to the final with some magical moments. Mbappe is still so early in his career, but he dispatched 3 penalties with ease in the World Cup final, with the sort of confidence any veteran would be jealous of. Some may even argue Mbappe already has a claim as the best, but there is no doubt if he keeps this form going, he will be right up there for the next decade, aiming for international titles and Ballon d'Ors. Mbappe has already scored 36 international goals, scored in 2 World Cup finals, and won 5 World Cup Man of the Match awards. It has since been reported that Mbappe decided not to take the extra holidays he was granted by PSG after the World Cup, and was reported early to training. He is not here to mess about. Next on the list is a man lurking in the shadows of this recent World Cup. Just a month ago, Erling Haaland was the name hot on the lips of the football world. It's fair to say, however, that the 2022 World Cup has completely overshadowed his incredible start to the season. Halland is on course to smash the Premier League goals record in his rookie season, despite smashing the goals in for Dortmund, both in the Bundesliga and the Champions League. Many suggested he wouldn't be able to do it in England. But Halland laughed in the face of such ideas, quite literally too. An interesting moment came in the Community Shield, the curtain raiser for the English season that this year ended with a win for Liverpool against City. Halland missed an easy chance late in the game. Of course he was mocked by the red side of the ground, but the camera showed his reaction. Halland cracked a smile, a menacing grin in fact, one that didn't show any signs of confidence lacking. Instead, his smile was one of danger, as if Halland himself couldn't believe he had spared Liverpool with this miss. That proved true, as he did not spare many teams when the Premier League started just a week later. He has 23 goals in 18 competitive appearances this year. That includes 18 Premier League goals in just 13 games. Expect a well-rested Erling Haaland to continue his scintillating form in front of goal in 2023 and return to the headlines. He has all the attributes to challenge the best goal-scoring records ever set. At 22 years of age, he has a long career ahead of him, but like Mbappe, he plays beyond his years. He is already the talisman of a top Manchester City side and is guaranteed to win many trophies in the future. Halland is mentally strong and physically out of this world. He has bullied some Premier League defences already, and as well as scoring a lot of key goals from close range, he is capable of scoring different types of goals in and around the box, thanks to his incredible power and athleticism. Another similarity he has with Mbappe is his pace. A high line puts a smile on his face, and likewise, a deep defence is no obstacle. Let's hope we see Halland hungry for goals and trophies, after he was briefly forgotten about at the World Cup in Qatar. Next on our list is a man who definitely wasn't forgotten in Qatar. Young English midfielder Jude Bellingham has been likened to his former childhood hero Steven Gerrard, and with good reason. Staggeringly, this imperious central midfielder is only 19, and yet he has been called on to bring a steeliness and creativity to the Three Lions midfield line, with options like Mount, Grealish and Maddison left on the bench. Bellingham has been compared to Gerrard because he is the complete midfielder. He can score, assist and beat defenders, but he can also run, tackle and dominate games entirely. His maturity at such a young age is frightening, and he has rightly been tipped to lead the England midfield for many years to come. Bellingham scored at this World Cup and also played his part in a stunning quarter-final against France. He has an impressive 9 goals in 22 appearances for Dortmund this year, including 4 in 5 Champions League games. Simply unprecedented numbers for a 19-year-old central midfielder. The vultures are said to be circling, and Bellingham may well be on his way to a top Premier League or La Liga side in the near future. This might be the last jump he needs to really enter the next best thing debate. Perhaps at a new club, trophies would be more of a common thing for the young man, who's already proved that no spotlight is too bright for his talents. A type of midfielder that many thought might have died out with past generations has returned in glorious style. Jude Bellingham can do it all. For us, he's right up there with Halland and Mbappe to set the world alight in the coming years. And even those two are a few years his senior. Stay tuned for Jude. Like Kylian Mbappe, Vinicius Jr. has already put himself on the doorstep of the world's best by stepping up in some of football's biggest games over the last 12 months. Sadly, a Brazil side that filled us with some joyful football in Qatar went home early in the quarterfinals, but Vinicius played a key part in some of the head-turning football Brazil played, scoring a wonderful goal of his own in the knockout match against South Korea. Vinicius also scored the winner for Real Madrid in last year's 1-0 Champions League final win over Liverpool. The 22-year-old winger decided the biggest game in club football, so he is already in the history books among some top names. Alongside Karim Benzema, Vinicius played a key role in Madrid's run to the final. He tortured Man City and toyed with Paris Saint-Germain. Vinicius has shown us signs of his talent before, but last season he took it to another level. If many had overlooked Vinicius to be Neymar's successor, they may need to reassess. This season has been no different so far. Vinicius is scoring a goal every other game and has 4 in 6 in Europe. Armed with lightning pace and much improved finishing, Vinicius is becoming the complete old-fashioned winger, an absolute nightmare to defend against. Perhaps Brazil will need to have some success in the future with Vinicius as their go-to man for the world to stand up and recognise him as the very best. But we certainly see the potential, and nobody would be surprised if he continues winning trophies and terrorising defences with Real Madrid. Last but not least is Barcelona's new midfield maestro, Pedri. Barcelona fans recently had to deal with their most successful trio of all time leaving in the space of a few short years. Messi, Gavi and Iniesta had incredible success at the Nou Camp, but their departure left a gaping hole in both the hearts of their supporters and the engine room of their midfield. In a pretty fortunate turn of events, 2 young starlets have emerged in the form of Pedri and Gavi. Pedri, who has already been named best young player in the world, just edges it for us as the man who might one day actually be named the best overall player in the world. Pedri is Gavi and Iniesta mixed into one, and if he reaches his full potential, he will be a superstar at Barca and in global football. His vision, passing and calmness on the ball is Gavi reincarnated, but he is also no stranger to a silky dribble or a 1-2 pass and long shot, the sort of agile attacking brilliance we would associate more with Iniesta. Pedri at just 20 years of age is already the main man for both club and country. Despite an early exit for Spain at the World Cup, he was one of their standout performers. He has now got 18 international caps. For Barcelona, he has played 63 times, scoring 9 goals, after impressing a previous club, Las Palmas. With recent investment, Barcelona have tried to reinvent their starting 11, aiming to return to the glory days. But despite bringing in big money signings like Robert Lewandowski, Pedri remains the first name on the team sheet, front and centre in the Catalan side's plans. Pedri has incredible technical ability, a beautiful strike and a range and vision of passing like no other. Lionel Messi is a big fan of the young Spaniard. Before Leo departed Barca, he played with a young Pedri, who was breaking into the first team. The pair managed to spend a full season together, and Pedri said he learnt a lot from the best in the world. Messi used to give us advice on how to be calm during matches. He always told us to feel free on the pitch. Messi is the best player I have ever seen. To have had the chance to play with him is an honour. He always had a great attitude towards me and treated me very well from the moment I met him, remarked Pedri. What better way than to learn from the best? We believe Mbappe and Halland are likely to dominate this debate for the next few years because of their superstar status and goal-scoring prowess. Vinicius is our dark horse to put his status above the rest, and though Bellingham and Pedri will score less goals from midfield and are a couple of years behind the others, we have already seen more than enough from them to decide they are the next best thing in their own right. Do you agree with our choices? Who do you think is the next best player in the world? Please leave your ideas in the comments below.